Om Vishvam Darpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyan Nijantargatam Pashyannatmani Mayaya Bahirivodbhutai Yatha Nidraya Yasakshat Kurute Prabodha Samaye Svatmanamevadvayam Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namahidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye Bijasyantarivangkuro Jagadidam Prang Nirvikalpam Punaha Maya Kalpita Deshakala Kalana Vaichitra Chitri Krutam Maya Viva Vijrumbhayatyapi Maha Yogi Vayasvechaya Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namahidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namahidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Grathitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Bhattvamanusandathami Bhagavad Gite Bhavat Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedai Sangha Padakramopanishadaihi Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavasthitatangatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yoginaha Yasyantam na vidussura suraganaha Devaya tasmai namaha Devaya tasmai namaha. Verse 14. Satatam kirtayanto maam Yatantasya drudavratah Namasyantasya maam bhaktya Nityayukta upasate. So we are seeing this 14th verse. Satatam kirtayantaha. These people, these Mahatmas who have a Daivi Prakriti, who have a disposition, godly disposition, who have a sattvic disposition, and who are very clear about the goal of life. The goal of our life cannot be the personal goal. Any personal goal Shastra should not talk about, because that's your own goal. Shastra should talk about the goal of a human being in general. Behind all the goals, what is the goal really speaking? What human being wants ultimately? That's what Shastra has to talk about. And Shastra has to talk about even the means to acquire that goal. So that is what meaning of the word Veda is. Veda has come from the root vid. Vid means to know. Veda means a body of knowledge. And if this body of knowledge, well, what type of a knowledge? Well, it's a body of a knowledge pertaining to the means and end. Yeah. So that is how it is. So even the Vedanta also, which is part of the Veda, Upanishads, talk about a goal of a human life called moksha and how to acquire it. Knowing Ishvara. Tattvataha, in reality, what is Ishvara? That is oneself, etc. So, Satatam Kirtayantaha, those people definitely will appreciate the glories. Kirtayantaha Maam, Bhagavan says, they are appreciating my glories. So, in terms of, I told you what are the glories. And Yatantaha, and also Yatantaha, they definitely, in order to gain this knowledge, they have prepared themselves with a lot of effort. And I talked about that also, like a self-mastery, etc. And discovering a compassion. One can discover compassion by act of compassion. One can discover love by act of love. That's how it is. So that's how fake it, a very popular statement in America, fake it till you make it. That's how people ask somebody, how can I, what will I do in order to love that person? Well, you start an act of love. That act of love will ultimately help you to discover that you can love. Yeah. Act of compassion. What is the act of compassion? Giving, sharing. That's it. Because ultimately, and when you give and share, definitely you always have a certain bigness. Then only you give. If I feel that I'm very limited being, very small, definitely I have a need rather than I'm giving something. Anyway, so ultimately it's all connected. So either, while I was giving, I thought, let me little clarify. Either your own, experiences of happiness, etc., reveal who you are really speaking. And if I am not able to appreciate, someone can say, Swamiji, what you talked, it's very high philosophy, I can't understand. Even though it's an experience, one may not be able to understand. Then in that case, definitely you require an act of compassion, etc. If you cannot discover a certain bigness within you, it's there in your experience, you have to analyze it properly. Then your understanding, your perception about the whole life changes. Your perception of the life can be from two standpoints. I am really a needy person, a seeker, etc., and I want a lot of things in my life in order to gain fulfillment. Or the second perception is, well, I am already full, I am already whole, and therefore, well, ultimately, the life, the remaining life should be a discovery of that wholeness. That's a different perception. It's an entirely different perception. One is in search of wholeness, happiness, fullness, fulfillment, success, same thing. Or one act out of wholeness. Well, and you discover ultimately wholeness. Because when you act out of wholeness, your act is always of sharing, giving, offering. Because you feel you have enough to give. Other one is feel that one is a needy. So, and giving here, don't think about money, etc. Giving your time, giving your skills, etc., sharing. That's what Karma Yoga is ultimately. Karma Yoga talks about this contributorship. Yeah, that's a way of purifying and ultimately discovering wholeness. So it's a wonderful thing. Yeah. Anyway, so basically this yatantaha, these people are really striving. They must have put a lot of efforts, and those people have discovered even this ahimsa, etc. Also they are following ahimsa, etc. Anyway, so and I told you it is these two vows indicate. These two things indicate. Ahimsa and the daya, Bhashyakara mentions, indicate a sannyasi who is in pursuit of this. That's how he's called yati. So, yati means the one who makes effort. He has two things to do. First thing is, one is the pursuit of the very knowledge in form of Shravana, Manam, etc. And other is putting an effort to gain emotional maturity, as I said. This is, cultivating these values, etc. So, he commits himself to ahimsa and then lives day to day. Anyone who wants to really gain a vision of Vedanta, he has to live day to day. Because the reality is something which exists, right? It is not something which you are going, moksha is not something which you gain in future. You are already free right now. You are free, that's what the Mahavakya is, you are Brahman. Therefore, one who lives in present, can definitely imbibe this vision. Yeah. What is here and now, Puja Swamiji's word, if you remember, what is here and now is this Ishvara alone, or that of Brahman. Anyway, so Vedanta becomes adhikari basically only when he or she lives one day at a time, really speaking. Otherwise, Vedanta doesn't work. If something is to be projected in the future, there is no projection. Vedanta talks about realities. And therefore, definitely, reality means what is there right now. That has to be appreciated properly. And therefore, so Vedanta plans one day at a time, Even a plan for the future is only a today's plan, actually. Tomorrow he is ready to even shift. Shift means he is ready to change a little bit in terms of, revising, etc. So anyway, So naturally there is a yatna, or the certain effort for gaining this adhikaritvam. So Bhagavan said yatantaha, satatam kirtayantaha, yatantaha. And then what is further required? Dhradavrataha. Dhradavrataha means a firm commitment. Dhrudam means firm. Vratam here is a commitment rather than a vow. I will tell you why. So a firm commitment is required. Many people are very enthusiastic, in the beginning, and then quietly withdraw. So, but the Dhradavrataha undertakes this pursuit of moksha, etc., while with a commitment. And once they undertake something, they commit themselves to and pursue also, unless evidence is totally against that. Then if he finds that he needs to revise it, like in terms of qualification, etc., he is ready to revise it. He is ready to go back and change the plan, etc. He can re-equip himself, etc., and then start again. But the commitment remains. So basically, when you make a commitment, you always, and that's how they say, never make a commitment which is big. Sort of, all these things reveal, if you make a very big commitment, even any pursuit, then definitely what happens is we create unnecessary pressure on ourselves and feel defeated most of the time. Therefore, we should have like value of compassion I want in my life. That's fine. Not everything together. I want to totally equip myself in terms of gaining knowledge. One need not be ahimsa and everything not together. One value. So that's called a commitment, which is of course a small commitment that you can definitely fulfill also. So anyway, so Dhradavrataha, the people who are committed to moksha, and there is no changing of the goal naturally. Purusharth Nishchaya is already there. And Vrataha generally means a vow, but here it is not exactly vow, because we take it as a commitment, because you take a vow generally to accomplish a given thing. So here it is not something to be accomplished. You can understand very well. It's a bringing out a cognitive change in yourself, and it is gaining knowledge here, and gaining knowledge, that is moksha. There is nothing else. That's how even in a 13th chapter, Bhagavad Gita, in Bhagavad Gita itself, when Bhagavan talks about certain values, there he said one of the value, I think it's the last value, Tattva Jnanartha Darshanam or something. Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam, Tattva Jnanartha Darshanam. So the last value. Tattva Jnanartha Darshanam means a capacity to understand that what I want, that moksha, is in terms of just knowing myself. It's reality now, and it is just in terms of knowing myself. There is nothing to accomplish. More I think of the thinking that moksha is something to be accomplished in future, more I remain away from the moksha. Therefore, so here it is not a vrata. Vrata means generally you take a vow in order to accomplish something which you don't have right now. Here it is a commitment in terms of knowledge, gaining knowledge, in terms of Shravana Manana Nidhyasanam, in order to understand that I am free, basically. So this is how here we take vrata as a commitment, not a vow. Okay, and then Bhagavan further says, mam bhaktya namasyantaha. So this bhakti I was telling you, basically in an environment of a bhakti, in an environment of a prayerful attitude, in an environment of a devotion, in an environment of a surrender. Ultimately it's all surrender, to the extent that the very surrenderer is totally consumed. Right? The very ahankara, the ego, is totally consumed by my real, by the knowledge which I have that I am Brahman, where definitely you negate that you are simply a individual being. So that has been ultimately found as a mithya. So surrender of ego, etc. People think surrender means something we are doing an action of, always we feel. Surrender means, definitely, it's not. Surrender is in terms of knowledge. So surrendering likes and dislikes also, definitely you are basically, likes and dislikes is a part of your ego only, that's for personality. And there, you reduce likes and dislikes, you gain certain qualifications, amanitvam, adambitvam, ahimsa, etc., all this. And ultimately, the last surrender also is becoming one with the Ishvara, where you, the individual, is totally consumed. Therefore, the surrender, we have to understand it properly. So this all meant by bhakti. Bhakti means a surrender. Bhakti means a prayerful attitude. Bhakti means a devotion, love along with, I told you, the trust, respect, etc. Either way. So Bhagavan says, Mam bhaktya namasyantaha. These are the people, well, basically, who have surrendered to me with devotion. So, as I told you, the whole pursuit is done in atmosphere of a devotion. And in such atmosphere, one thing happens. Then you are basically surrendering means you don't claim. Even suppose you are able to gain compassion. You are able to gain, you are able to follow the value of ahimsa. You have a certain, amanitvam, etc. also. You may feel that you have gained it by your effort. No. Really speaking, bhakti means definitely you don't claim credit, basically, for any achievement. Even though there is a success, you don't claim. Well, then what? It's a grace of Ishvara. That is bhakti. Yeah. Because ultimately you want this ego to ultimately, totally melt away and understand yourself as Brahman. Then claiming all this means you want to keep the claimant as such and want to strengthen further. No. And therefore, basically, you know very well that you have been endowed with a limited knowledge, limited power, and limited skills by which I am born failure, frankly speaking. Definitely, because any endeavor which I take, I am likely to fail because of limited knowledge, limited power, etc. Yet I am gaining success, then definitely Ishvara is helping me as a karma phaladata, definitely helping me. So it's a grace, gracefully successful. That's the thing. So you don't claim basically that you have acquired those qualifications, etc. That's called an atmosphere of a devotion. So namasyantaha. So bhaktya namasyantaha, those who surrender, who have this prayerful heart in their pursuit, definitely they gain it. And here it's a surrender to whom? Surrender to Parameshwara, who is in the form of Atma. Very beautifully, Bhashyakara says, these people are surrendering to whom? Hridayesham Atmanam Mam Namasyantaha. Hridaye Shayam. One who is Shayam, who is abiding in Hridaya, one who is abiding in the heart. Well, Atmanam, the Parameshwara, the Brahman created everything and then jumped into the creation and manifest in the form in the heart, right? So Yoveda Nihitam Guhayam Parame Vyoman Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Where will I know this Satyam Brahma, Jnanam Brahma, etc.? Where will I know this Brahman? Oh, Yoveda, one who knows. Yoveda Nihitam Guhayam, one who is abided in the form of this, in the form of this Ahankara. The very Drashta, Shrota, Manta, etc. is nothing but this Brahman. Anyway, so basically, Bhashyakara says, Hridaya Shayam. Shayam is sleeping, but here abiding. One who abides in the heart, as in the form of the very self, the very Sakshi. Well, it is very important because people surrender in the world to different things. Some people surrender to money, while converting Ishvara into form of a Lakshmi. And so Ishvara is Ishvara, but just Lakshmi is a Ishvara, nothing else. So they surrender to Lakshmi. Anyway, people surrender to varieties of things, power and other things. And due to their own likes and dislikes and what they want to achieve in life. But here, well, it's a surrender to Ishvara because the goal is Ishvara. Anyway. And we can also understood Namasyantaha, surrender to Lord, who is in form of a creator, let us say, not Atmanam, who is in the form of a creator, sustainer, destroyer of the entire world. When you worship Ishvara in the form of this, ultimately, you invoke His grace. Yeah. And so Ishvara's grace is here, and grace is a graceful expression. Grace is not some packets Ishvara has to distribute every morning. Grace is basically you earn. Grace is very difficult to earn because grace is nothing but a karma phala alone. Grace is a result of your good actions, ultimately, nothing else. One can earn grace by two types of actions. One is a prayer. One can definitely tap that grace, prayer of course, and the second is a reaching out action. Those two types of action can definitely help to earn the grace. And therefore, grace basically, people say like by God's grace I got help, etc. God is, somebody got a flat tire. in the winter on a highway, and that person, was telling everyone to stop and help, but nobody stopped for 1 hour, almost evening, and so it has become dark, and he was shivering also, and nobody stopped. After 1 hour, one person stopped and helped the person. He said, by God's great grace, I definitely got the help. If God's grace is there, then where was God for that 1 hour where you were really shivering and he did not help you, right? And why, if the God's grace is there, why you should get a flat tire to begin with? So basically, we should understand. So God's grace is really not that he was waiting that you pray and then I should give something to you. No. It's your own karma phala, but which of your good action has given rise to this favorable situation, etc., or success, etc., you cannot connect it. You might have done several good karmas in several janmas, but which karma, ultimately good karma, has come in the form of this karma phala, which I can call success, favor, etc. I cannot decide it. Since he is a karma phala data, he is giving me the results of my own good actions. Therefore, since it is coming from Ishvara like that, well, we call it as a grace of Ishvara. It's just a graceful expression, and that helps. Otherwise, I will say it's my own good karma has brought this success, etc. So definitely, which goes against your pursuit. So that is how we say it is a grace. So you basically surrender to Lord ultimately, or you have a prayerful attitude. You see the Ishvara in the form of the sustainer, destroyer, and creator, etc. And so basically and so that's how this pursuit definitely has that's how there's an atmosphere of a bhakti, etc. Even in terms of seeking grace is very important. We should understand this particular pursuit is not an academic pursuit. Many people say this is an academic pursuit because here we are attending classes and we are trying to learn language. We may learn logic. We may try to understand a given word has why this particular meaning and why not other meaning. All this looks very academic pursuit, but it's not an academic pursuit. It's a pursuit where definitely we have an attitude of a surrender to the Lord. And in an academic pursuit in universities, they don't have this kind of an attitude. Attitude of a surrender is not there, naturally not there. And it is not purely a religious pursuit also. A purely religious pursuit will not have all this kind of inquiry, self-inquiry and all that thing. Where you definitely certain religious action you do, but you don't have this pursuit of a knowledge, may not be having that knowledge also. And therefore, it's not a purely religious pursuit, it is not an academic pursuit, pure academic pursuit, mere academic pursuit. It's a pursuit along in which, bhaktya. So where you have an attitude of a surrender, where you are really seeking in a grace of Ishvara also with your prayerful attitude. So that is called a spiritual pursuit. Anyway. So namasyantah cha mam bhaktya upasate, they pursue me, they seek me, bhaktya, with the devotion, and they surrender to me. And then Bhagavan further says, bhaktya nitya yuktaha, the last word. Bhaktya nitya yuktaha upasate. So those who are always nitya yuktaha. Yuktaha means connected. Nitya yuktaha, always connected. So those who are always connected with me, bhaktya, with their abiding devotion. So here there is a particular analogy is used. They call as a Dehali Deepa Nyaya. So Dehali Deepa Nyaya, Nyaya means an analogy. This verse has a analogy in which a particular word should be connected to what comes later, and that word should be connected to the previous word also. You can connect both the way. What is that word? Mam bhaktya, or let's say bhaktya. Bhaktya is connected with that nitya yukta also. Bhaktya is connected with the namasyantaha also. Bhaktya namasyantaha. They surrendered to me with the attitude of a devotion. So that is also there. Bhaktya nitya yuktaha. So with the abiding devotion, they connect to me. So bhaktya is Dehali Deepa. Deepa means a lamp, which you keep on a threshold. In India, we have houses where the houses the rooms are all parallel. So like that. And so in between the two rooms, there is a threshold. On threshold, they keep a lamp. So the light of the lamp, goes in both the rooms. So same way here, this particular word bhaktya is like a deepa, which connects to the previous word called namasyantaha, also connects to the word nityayukta, both. So this is all like trividam narakasedam dvaram nashanam atmanah kamakrodas tatha lobah tasmadetat trayam tyajet. This kamakroda lobah, definitely these three are there. Krodha is connected to kamaha, krodha is connected to lobha also. Krodha is an effect which can arise when you have a lobha, greed. Greed gives rise to anger very much. And kama, the desire which is unfulfilled, also gives rise to anger. So this is like that. So krodha is in between, like a deepaha, like a lamp, which connects to both. Yeah. So anyway, why it has been said they are connected with their abiding devotion? Well, because bhakti can be sporadic, temporary, like a vairagyam, like a dispassion, also can be a temporary. We call smashan vairagyam in Gujarati or maybe in other languages. The person, basically somebody died and this person, the bereaved person, goes to the cremation ground. And while, they put on the pyre, etc., and, this person is sitting there and thinking, this person has earned lot. And he knows his life. So, this person has put so much efforts and he has created empire, but nothing he could take along with. And therefore, what is the use of this life? What's the real purpose of this life? This fellow is thinking there, sitting in a cremation ground, and he comes home and takes bath and immediately see Wall Street Journal. And therefore, how to earn more money. So this is what I'm saying. This is a temporary vairagyam, temporary dispassion. So the same way bhakti also, person may think, person may get such an idea sometime, thinking that, what is the real purpose of life? I'm running here and there. What's the real purpose of life? We feel that now he has really, come on this path now by grace. But it is just a temporary. That doesn't work. Abiding, Bhagavan said. Nityayuktaha, bhaktya nityayuktaha. Means with the abiding devotion, they are connected to me. Anyway. So this prayerful attitude mentioned here is, then how to keep this abiding devotion? Well, if it is born of understanding, it will sustain. If it is not born of understanding, it will go. That's it. And if the understanding is vague, the devotion also is subject to waning, waxing, etc. That's how Bhagavan said, bhaktya nityayuktaha, lasting devotion. Anyway, verse 15. Jnana yajnena chapyanye yajanto mamupasate ekatvena pruthatvena bahudha vishvato mukham. As I told you, verse 14 and 15, both basically in which Bhagavan talks about that, they are seeking me, but how these people are seeking is described in verse 14, which we saw, and in 15th also. Jnana yagnena chapyanye anye. Anye means others. Others means other than those which I have already told you in verse number 12. Mogasha moga karmana, etc. Those who have wasted human life. Human life is a grace, is a crystallized grace. Either from the science standpoint, from the evolution standpoint, either from the standpoint of Shastra. Human life is very, very rare to get. Even if someone Nastika is there who says, I don't believe in all this, etc. From the standpoint of evolution, they say the human being has come on the earth 3 lakhs years ago in form of some monkey, etc. Not monkey as such, but some kind of a Homo sapiens or some particular name they say. 3 lakhs years ago, and slowly modified into a vertebrate, totally a human being. It took 3 lakhs years ultimately. My God. And so from, let's say, ape to human being, take so much, 0.3 million years. And that's a evolution, Darwin's evolution ultimately, you can take that way. Or from the standpoint of Shastra, well, definitely, very much. It has been said in a Vivek Chudamani very beautifully, right? Manushyattam, mumukshuttam, mahapurusha samshaya. Very well. Durlabham trayamevaitat, deva anugraha hetukam. Manushyattam, mumukshuttam, mahapurusha samshaya. Durlabham, very rare to get human birth. But I have got it. Okay. Then deva anugraha hetukam. Deva anugraha. Well, what is the cause of that? Hetu. What is the cause of this? You get a human life. Deva anugraha, grace of Ishvara. Therefore, Pujya Swamiji at one place I heard saying, this human body is a crystallized grace. Really. And with that human body, further, you got a human body, but a defective from the birth. My God. Somebody is born blind, somebody is born with some different things, You got a human body and all limbs are okay. Well, further grace. All limbs are okay, that's fine, but then autism. Issue. No autism, nothing. You are able to think, you are able to discriminate properly, healthy mind, etc. My God. Further grace. So all this is grace. And therefore, definitely, these people who, and then using that human body for the sake of gaining moksha, etc., well, further grace. One gains a human life, but one wastes it. That has been talked in that 12th verse. Human life is wasted. So who lack discrimination, etc. And those people are what? Moga asha. Moga means vyartham, vain. Asha. They live in this vain hopes. Vain hopes. I am going to get this thing. I am going to get this thing. Then my life will be better. I want to place myself in a better situation. I am not right now in a better situation. Well, I want to place myself in a better situation. By going to some place, by associating to somebody, anyway, or by acquiring few things and by getting rid of few things, constantly, I will be in a better situation. That day never comes. One who wants to be in a better situation has to understand, right now I am in a better situation. That's what it is. So, moga asha. If you don't have a discrimination, this will happen. Discrimination, proper discrimination of the purushartha, etc. This thing happens. Then moga karmanaha. So those having a vain hope, then moga karmanaha. Moga means vain, fruitless action. And mogasha, moga karmanaha, moga jnanaha, useless knowledge, etc. Useless knowledge means pertaining to worldly knowledge, one acquires a lot of things, but then through that worldly knowledge, one gains varieties of the things, artha, kama, etc. All, but ultimately it's all in vain. You know very well. Ultimately, what you want is you want to see yourself free self, free from standpoint of the insecurity, freedom from insecurity, and freedom from the limitations. You want to see yourself these two things, and that is why whatever promises in the world you run after that. Ultimately, anyway. So all this fruitless action in useless knowledge people are engaged into. Why? Rakshasi masurim chaiva. Rakshasi masurim chaiva. So those have resort to this Rakshasi, an asura disposition. So Rakshasa is what? Well, who has a predominance of Vrajoguna. What we were talking about, those people are Sattvika disposition. I have told you, Devi Prakriti. But the Rakshasi Prakriti means who have a predominance of the Rajoguna. And predominance of Rajoguna means he has lots of ambition, and that fuel a great deal of activity also, and definitely vainfulness also. And in fulfilling those desires, those ambitions, he may destroy other people who he feels that becomes an obstruction to his ambition. He will destroy. You will see in the, I don't want to criticize, but you see in the what is going on in the corporate world, they want to kill each other. Kill each other means in terms of they want to destroy others in order to fulfill their own ambition. These are called Rakshasi Prakriti. People have this kind of disposition, which is definitely predominant in Rajoguna. And Tamoguna will give rise to Asura disposition. So where these people will behave, will do what they like. They will eat, drink, etc., what they like, etc. They have no rules. So then we say, these people have a Tamoguna disposition called Asura disposition. So those compared to them, Anye, these are the people who are really different from them. And well, what they are doing, Jnana Yagnena Yatantaha Mam Upasate. So these people basically, worship me through the ritual, Yajna. So they worship me through the ritual of knowledge, Jnana Yagnena. Jnanam eva yajna hai. So they worship me through the ritual of knowledge. They basically, knowledge alone is the ritual for these people. And what is the object of this knowledge? Bhagavan. Ishvara is the knowledge, object of this knowledge. And naturally, here also, if they are not performing any other rituals, means a sannyasi. Therefore, I am saying. So basically, so they are doing only one ritual, and that ritual of knowledge. So a sannyasi does not perform a ritual, because when he, he disconnects himself with the world, I mean in terms of duties, etc., well, he also gives up karma, these rituals, Agnihotra, etc., so which are generally prescribed for the Vedic society. Well, being a part of the Vedic society, well, definitely you have certain duties, also, etc. So sannyasis are being exempted by the Shastra from the duties, etc. So he doesn't perform these yajnas also, which is part of the Vedic society. So, but he has other karmas, which, even by the way, sannyasis also have a karma, I'm telling you. Nitya karma, daily certain things has to be done. Like pranava japa is to be done daily. Then hams japa is there, hams gayatri is there, and mahavakya japa also is there. Yeah, all these are there. Mahavakya japa, etc. has been talked about in a Panchadashi by Vidyaranya Swami. How does it help? Mahavakya japa, the person is really in this pursuit, committed is there, but somehow he is not able to assimilate this knowledge. So then there are obstacles. But he could not even figure out what are the obstacles, naturally. These obstacles may be born of certain his own wrong actions of the past. Now it has come in and stand in between he and his pursuit. While those obstacles are there, he is not able to understand what are the obstacles. But in order to definitely neutralize those obstacles, Mahavakya Japa has been described in a Panchadashikara. Vidyaranya describes it. So all these are, he also has some japa and everything. Some nitya karma is there. But other rituals are not there. Yeah, he has Jnana Yagnena, Bhagavan says. Anye Jnana Yagnena Mam Upasate. He is worshipping me through this yajna, through the ritual of knowledge, etc. Then, Mam Vishwato Mukham Upasate. He worshipped me in Vishwato Mukham. Mukham means face. Vishwato Mukham, many faces, all faces. He worshipped me in many faces, many facets, many forms. This person who is in the pursuit of this Ishvara, knowing Ishvara, Bhagavan says, he worshipped me in many faces. How? I am the cause of everything. And therefore, I am the maker, I am the very material. And therefore, I am also, since I am the material, whatever is there is me alone, naturally. Right? He is not just a maker. He is in the form of a material also. If he is in the form of material, all the products, etc., also he. So then, definitely, this person, worships him in the form of a sun, moon, etc., looking upon everything as a Ishvara. So, Mam Vishwato Mukham Upasate. He worships me in all forms, or many forms. All forms cannot be worshipped. To worship all the forms, you have to keep open the dictionary and start. Apple. First A is apple. So, apple is Ishvara. No, it is not. Many. And he is going to describe it also. In this chapter and in the next chapter, Vibhuti Yoga. I am in the form of this, I am in the form of that, I am in the form of this, etc., etc. But to many, if you say Bhagavan is everything, it's a loose statement. Really speaking, it shows a shallow understanding. If you say then we have to worship him in every form, it's impossible. You have to keep open the dictionary and start saying no. But not saying everything is Ishvara is in the form of everything, and therefore that's my understanding. That's not true. You have to say, well, he is in the form of a sun, he is in the form of a moon, he is in the form of this, etc. Few have to describe. That's what Bhagavan is going to narrate. Ultimately, Bhagavan says in a 10th chapter end that, Arjuna, I am tired. I can't narrate my own glories. So wherever you find a certain glory, you take it as a my glory. If somebody is having a glory of intellect, very, very powerful intellect, our Elon Musk has been praised, right? I'm just saying. It's a glory of Ishvara. People praise him that he is having he's a genius, etc., whatever it is. So my point is, since he is in the form of everything, means he is in the form of 5 elements, he is in the form of elemental, and therefore he is sun, moon, this, that. So this is called Vishwato Mukham Upasate. This is called worshipping. So these people worship him like this. That's how Bhagavan narrates also. And Bhagavan elaborates this thing as I told you later, but he points out. And he has pointed out in the 4th verse also, where everything basically has its being in me, Masthani Sarva Bhutani, etc. But yet I am free from them, etc. So this, look at my glory, etc. He says, Pashyame Yogam Ishwaram, he says there. So Vishwato Mukham Upasate, now he says, Ekatvena Vishwato Mukham Upasate, Pruthatvena Vishwato Mukham Upasate. So, Ekatvena, who is in the form of everything. So they worship me, they seek me ultimately, Ekatvena Pruthatvena. So they worship me, as the one who is in the form of everything. Or Pruthatvena, they worship me as the one who is distinct from everything. Nachamasthani Bhutani. I am distinct from all of them. Masthani Sarva Bhutani means I am the one who is in the form of everything. Ekatvena Vishwato Mukham Upasate. Vishwato Mukham is everything. Ekatvena Vishwato Mukham Upasate, or what? Pruthatvena. Nachamasthani Bhutani. Well, I am distinct from everything. Really speaking, there is nothing other than me. That is what the all-pervasiveness. That's what all-pervasiveness means. There should not be anything other than that. That's called non-duality. Wholeness means a non-duality. Or you use another word called Brahman. Same thing. But Brahman also, it's made from the root Brihadhatu, indicating which is big, which is ultimately limitlessly big. Well, there is nothing other than that. That is called bigness. Anyway. So this is how Ekatvena Pruthatvena basically upasate. So distinctly, one recognizes distinctly as in form of oneself. And this kind of a upasana you are doing for Ishvara as Brahman, looking upon as Brahman, but you can't do it for yourself. That's what ultimately it is meant for. So you can, same thing you can look at with reference to yourself. Masthani Sarva Bhutani, Nacha Masthani Bhutani, you can also say. What you say about Ishvara, or Ishvara says about himself, you can say also, because there is no difference between you and Ishvara ultimately. So you are free from all thoughts ultimately, and from memory, from perceptual thoughts, from sankalpa, vikalpa, etc. Right? All kinds of thoughts. Basically, all thoughts have a being in you. You light up the thought have a being in you, but you are free from thought. Before a thought arises, you are there. After a thought goes away, you are there. But Swamiji, how can I say when the thought is gone, I am there? Well, take a japa, you will find immediately. When you chant mentally, Om Namah Shivaya, there is a thought. Om Namah Shivaya thought is there. Then have a gap. Then another Om Namah Shivaya. Then gap. Then Om Namah Shivaya gap. Thought. Then gap. Then thought. Om Namah Shivaya. What is there in gap? Swamiji, there is in that gap there is a silence. What obtains in silence? I am telling you. What obtains in silence? Where there is no thought, there is silence. The fact that you say there is a silence, who is there? You are very much there. Otherwise, you cannot say there is a silence. At least you definitely you are there to be conscious of the silence. And therefore, ultimately, you are the silence. You are basically thought-free silence. Thought has a being in you, but when the thought is not there, you are very much there. Therefore, it shows you are thought-free silence. Anyway, what I am saying is, all the thoughts are different names and forms, which is a creation ultimately. Well, so you can take same thing, Masthani Sarva Bhutani. Well, they have a being in me. Nachamasthani bhutani. I am free from them. When the thought is there, I am there. Thought is not there, I am there. But Swamiji, when thought is there, I am there, that's fine. When thought is not there, I am there, how can you say? Your own experience, why should I say? Your deep sleep state, no thoughts, you are not there. You are not there in the deep sleep state, then whose state it is? It's a state of experience. Whose experience? Your experience. You are very much there when thought is not there. That reveals that you are by nature thought-free silence. What is thought-free is called silence. People say, I'm agitated. So my mind thinks too much. That's wonderful. If you keep saying, my mind is agitated, if you keep saying, it's a blessing. But Swamiji, I am agitated. How to become free from? That's gone. You are not agitated. All of the thoughts are thoughts of the mind. You are free from that. So, nacha masthani bhutani, masthani sarva bhutani, you can also say same thing. So, you are by nature consciousness, basically, which is ever silence, which is ever thought free. So, Pujya Swamiji's equation is B is A, but A is not B, like that. So, every thought is ultimately consciousness, but you are free from thought. So, you need to understand Satyamithya properly, so that then the understanding will be complete. So, ekatvena, pruthatvena. Ekatvena. So, you understand every thought is ultimately is you, but pruthatvena, you are free from thought. So, same thing applies. When you go from the ego to the level of consciousness, Atma, Satchidananda, same thing you can also say. Therefore, between you and Ishvara, there is no difference. Anyway, so Vishwato Mukham, various forms. He worships in various forms. Means, you can say everything is sustained by me, everything is evolved from me, sustained by me, and goes back into me. You can say that way. Means goes back into Brahman, either you say. Or, ekatvena, means ultimately everything. Means I am in the form of everything. Or severally you can say like this, that I am in the form of sun, moon, etc., etc. Then, verse 16. We'll just see a few things in that. Aham kraturaham yajnyaha swadaham aushadham mantrohamavajyam aham agniraham hutam. So Bhagavan is giving few details now. I am in the form of a yajna. In that he is going to express, he is going to say, I am in the form of this, I am in form of Agni, I am in form of that, etc., etc. So what he says, aham kratur aham yajnaha. So in this verse, basically Bhagavan says that every aspect of this ritual is me alone. Why he takes the example of a ritual? Since the Vedic ritual is considered a most exalted karma for a Vedika, so by saying that every aspect of the ritual is me alone, Bhagavan ultimately wants to convey that every other karma, whatever the facets are there in all the karmas, are me alone. That's what he wants to say. So when you invoke Ishvara in the form of in a particular Devata, and then like Indra, Varuna, etc., in the ritual, then you first light up a fire, and then with the mantra you invoke a particular Devata there, and then you give oblation, right? So these are the aspects, various aspects of the yajna, Vedic ritual here. But here, this person is doing jnana yajna. And so this is yajna, which is a jnana yajna. So you invoke Ishvara, not a Devata. Naturally, object of this ritual, jnana yajna, is Bhagavan alone, or Brahman. And therefore, you invoke Ishvara alone. And because every part of this karma basically is non-separate from Brahman or Ishvara. So fire is Ishvara. That is what our well-known verse, Brahmarpanam, Brahmahavihi, Brahmagno, Brahmanahutam, Brahmaiva tena gantavyam, Brahmakarma samadhina. Very clear. Where the all the aspects of the fire ritual is seen as a Brahman by whom? By that Grihastha who is doing that ritual. He's seeing everything as a Brahman. So Brahmarpanam, Arpanam means a ladle by which you offer. Right? Like a spoon kind of a thing. It's called Arpana. Arpyate anene iti Arpanam. So by which you offer. That ladle is Brahman. Brahma Havihi, so the very Havihi, that oblation which you offer, that is Brahman. Then Brahma Agnau, where do you offer? Agnau, in the fire, that is Brahman. So Brahma Param Brahma Havihi Brahma Agnau Brahmana Hutam. By whom it is offered? Well, that Yajamana, the person, well, who is a karta of that ritual, he is Brahman. Brahmana Hutam, Brahma eva tena gantavyam. By doing this entire yajna karma, where do you want to go? Gantavyam. What's your goal? Brahman alone is a goal. No, my goal is to go to Swarga. Swarga means Brahman. No, my goal is to gain money. Money is Brahman. Really? Everything. Brahman means what? There is nothing other than Brahman consciousness, limitless consciousness. And therefore, ultimately, my point is, this is what we discussed. Brahma Karma Samadhina ultimately said. So Brahma Karma Samadhina means, well, ultimately entire karma is looked upon, every aspect is looked upon as a Brahman. So that's called Samadhi, where you see everything as just Brahman alone. So Brahma Karma Samadhina, etc. Anyway, so this is here same way Bhagavan gives an example of that fire ritual, and he says everything in that fire ritual is basically Brahman. So this vision, this kind of a thing, well, ultimately, this is what even our regular puja also we say like that. Yadyat karomi tattad akhilam shambho tavaradhanam. What ultimately, whatever I am doing in this puja, well, it is all offering to you. I'm offering everything to you. So this is an attitude. Either you have a vision that everything is Brahman, that's called Jnanam. If you have attitude that it is all Brahman or it is all Ishvara, that's a bhakti. When you have that attitude, still you have not gained knowledge, then you say every aspect you look upon as a Ishvara, and you say yadyat karomi tattad akhilam shambho tavaradhanam. Well, whatever I do, I offer, etc., is all ultimately unto you. So you are looking upon everything as a Ishvara, then it's an attitude. You really have an understanding that everything is Brahman, then it's a vision, it's basically knowledge you have. Anyway, so here Bhagavan says, Aham Kratuhu, basically, and Aham Yajnaha. Now the difference between Kratu and Yajna, etc., we'll have to see. For that we'll have to wait for 15 days. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.